Hey my dear fellow creators, though nobody asked me to make this video about 10 features that you must look for when you are buying a video camera, I thought it would be fun to share the knowledge. Thank you so much for watching this video. Click on that like button, subscribe and participate in commenting in this video. When I bought this EOS M50, I did not look into these video features and buy this camera, but when I start getting into YouTube, when I want my camera to do many things, I'm limited by what this camera can offer. With the new camera being launched every single day, Panasonic S1H, Sigma FP, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K, we get a lot of features in these cameras, but how do we know what is better for you as a filmmaker or a creator or a YouTuber? Here we go out and find 10 features that is must when you buy a video camera. First, video resolution. Do you want to shoot in Full HD, 4K, 6K or 8K? Probably if you are shooting in 8K, you don't need to watch this video because you know what you are doing now. So if you want to upload to YouTube or internet, 1080p is pretty much what you must be looking at. But when you are doing the client work, when you want some flexibility in the post, you must be looking at 4K and 6K. I would suggest don't get caught up with resolution too much and think about getting the latest and greatest cameras. So buy the one that fits your workflow. The workflow here I mean is what your computer is capable of editing, what your clients want, or what is a platform that you are delivering your media. For example, if you're doing only on YouTube, it's better to have to shoot in Full HD or 4K, that's enough. When you're doing client work, if your client requires 4K or 6K, then you can go for it, or else just shoot with 4K, it's okay. Panasonic S1H can shoot 6K. My friend Camera Conspiracies Casey is having a blast with the Panasonic S1H. He stole from the Henry camera, so you must go and tell him that you come from here. The Sigma FP can shoot 12-bit 4K Cinema DNG, but do you need those things? Because the files that come out of those cameras would be massive files, and I don't think so the normal person who is having a PC or a Mac would be able to edit those files with a simple graphics card. So resolution not only affects your camera, it also affects your workflow, how fast you can deliver to your client. My idea would be to find a sweet spot for what you do with the camera. For me, 1080p is okay, but 4K would be the best. The video codec and video format is the second thing that you must focus when you are buying a new camera. There are many video codec formats available as on today: H.264, H.265, HEVC, ProRes, RAW. General rule of thumb is, or RAW is much better than ProRes. ProRes is much better than H.265. H.265 is much better tthan H.264 All-I. H.264 All-I is better than H.264 GOP. Also now, H.265 is very taxing on GPU, and ProRes RAW is a massive file, and no way I have to say that RAW is a very big file. So I would suggest you to find a sweet spot between your file size and the image quality that you want to deliver. There are different types of RAW or ProRes RAW that is available to us. ProRes is compliant to Apple, and Blackmagic has its own RAW. Most of the cameras today can shoot H.264 All-I or GOP. All-I is all the intermediary frames in 24p is captured by the camera. GOP is it predicts the frames and only records the changes that happens between the frames. My friend Gerald Undone has a video explaining which video codec is better, and he has explained all the technical terms of the codec basics, and you can watch the video in the links given in the description. H.265 editing with a very good GPU is the sweet spot as on today. Point 3 that you want to discuss with you is frame rates. Depending on which part of planet you are from, your frame rates vary. If you are from US, you would be following NTSC based system, and the frame rate available for the cameras from US is 30 frames per second, and your shutter speed should be 1/68th of a second, that is equal to the power line frequency of 60 Hz. If you are from Asia, Australia, Europe, you would be following PAL based systems, and your frame rate would be around 25 frames per second and your power line frequency would be around 50 Hz. Please be careful about choosing the shutter speed should be approximately twice the frame rate. Usually shutter speed must be 2 times that. I should have done it yesterday. The point 4 that we must care about is what bitrate is capable of your camera. With different video resolutions, the camera is capable of shooting at different bit rates. Generally for 1080p, the camera would be shooting around 20, 40, 60, 80 or 100 mbps. EOS R can shoot around 200 mbps for 1080p. That file is much better for color grading. And 4K nowadays available at 100, 200, sometimes around 480 mbps with the Canon EOS R. Choose the highest bitrate that is available for the resolution in your camera. This gives a lot of flexibility in post to adjust your color and temperature. So the rule of thumb here is higher the bitrate, better the quality of the image. The file size would drastically increase with higher bit rates. So you must find a balance between bitrate and the file size. RGB color depth or 8-bit, 10-bit, 12-bit, 14-bit, 16-bit colors. What do they mean? It is with how many bits or bytes of data are used to represent the colors in your screen. Generally, the consumer level cameras has 8-bit of color depth. 8-bit is used to represent each of the RGB. So we have 24 bits to represent a pixel. With 10 bits, we have 30 bits per pixel. For 12 bits, we have around 36 bits. And okay, the general rule of thumb is higher the bits, better the quality of your file. 16-bit is much better than 14, 14 is much better than 12, 12 is much better than 10, 10 is much better than 8 bits. The next point that I want to talk to you about crop in the video mode. Modern day cameras have a high megapixel count, so when they have to read 4K or 6K data, they start to overheat itself. So to combat this problem, the number of pixels read by the camera is reduced by cropping into the sensor. This will keep the camera running for a long time and also prevent the overheat problem, but it brings other problems for us. For example, it crops into the lens or the focal length changes drastically. With this Canon M50, when I start to shoot in 10 to 22, the widest available for that lens, when I shoot in 4K, it becomes the 10mm almost becomes 30mm. I cannot even vlog with that camera. So we need to be aware of whether the camera is able to shoot uncropped higher frame rates or higher resolutions. Chroma sampling or color sampling is another thing that we must be aware of. Our human eyes are more sensitive to the light than the color of the light. So the camera manufacturers find a way to aggregate the colors that is within a frame using different techniques, and these techniques are clearly explained by a video that is given in the link in the description. All the color information of each pixel is retained, then it is called 444. If half of the pixel information is retained, then it is called 422. If quarter of the color information is retained for every 16 pixel, then it is called 420. Most of the cameras shoot 8-bit 420, and only some of the prosumer level cameras like Panasonic S1H, Panasonic GH5 shoot 10-bit 422 externally like Canon EOS R. Autofocus is very important for a one-man crew like me, because there are two types of autofocus now available within cameras. One is contrast based detection and then phase detect autofocus. Most of the Panasonic cameras use contrast based. For photo they work fine, but for video work it's always better to have the phase detect autofocus that is available in Canon and Olympus and Nikon Z series cameras. But sometimes the autofocus become twitchy and they don't capture on your face, so it's always better to look out for a phase detect autofocus or a hybrid autofocus, as like the Sony cameras. Hybrid autofocus is better than phase detect autofocus. Phase detect autofocus is better than contrast based autofocus. So choose your autofocus wisely. HDMI output, to get a clean HDMI output is one of the important features in a camera, because my Canon M50 does give a HDMI output, but it is like having the icons and the menu overlays. To get a clean HDMI output with audio is good for streaming and to record using external recorders like Ninja 5. which gives much more flexibility for post-production. Now the last and the final point is the recording media. If your camera can record 10-bit 422 internally to SD card, then you have won a lottery prize, because SD cards are much cheaper than the proprietary CFast cards and QCD cards that are used in Nikon Z camera. So the general rule of thumb is a camera that can record to an external media like SSD is much better than the camera that can record to something that is internal SD, which is much better than recording to CFast, which is much better than recording to QCD. The more easier the media is to find and to own and cheap is much better for your camera and your workflow. And the final thing that we must be looking into is the flip screen. If your camera can do the tilty flippy and you can do the selfie mode, it's well and good. These are the 10 video features that you must focus when you are buying a new camera. If you feel this video has helped you in some way, click on the subscribe button and like the video and comment on this video and share it with your friends. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.